Now this is the last destination of this year's Razan Festival. And actually, this is the place where the idea was born. It was not born by Mohammed Marzouk himself, but he always, every Thursday, has his divaniya here. And when his like-minded friends were sitting together, among them Mahmoud al-Zubayd, Sulaiman al-Kinai, Dari al-Medjem, and others, they were thinking about what to do, what kind of activities should we create others than Arabian horse shows. And after many discussions over several meetings, finally the idea of the Razan Festival was born. And it was a fantastic start. We had wonderful moments to spend with our dear friends, with Ala Al-Rumi and Talal Nis. And all the many other farms. We went to Al-Mari family stud, Al-Adba. We have been to Al-Ma'ali stud. We have been to Mohammed Rocheis. We have been to Dari al-Medjem, Arabna stud. And so many others, not to count them all now. And the last destination is Ajmal, Arabian stud. And on behalf of Mohammed Marzouk, I welcome you very heartily to the world of his farm, Ajmal, Arabian stud. It has always been his ambition not only to be a proud owner of Arabian horses and to participate in the development and perfection of its breeding, but also to make a contribution to the re-establishment of the bloodline in the land of its forefathers. His purpose is to make Ajmal Arabian stud a sanctuary, a place of serenity dedicated to the perpetuation of beauty and excellence. An environment where the natural splendor of the Arabian horse can thrive in peace and pass on its inherent flawlessness to its descendants. This is how Mohammed Jassim Al-Marzouk describes his ambition and goal. He started to develop his breeding program in 1995, so it's now almost about 30 years that he is into breeding fine and noble, straight Egyptian Arabians. And it's a pleasure to welcome the very first participant in this presentation. And welcome with us now Ajmal Gaza. She is by Ajmal Tamin out of Ajmal Nefisa, who is by Ajmal Al-Kut and Kada Farida. Kada Farida was purchased by Mohammed during one of his many visits to the United States of America. He attended the Pyramid Society's Egyptian events and later did some farm visit tours. And during this tour he found Kada Farida. He was always looking for a beautiful mare from the Nefisa line and finally saw what he was looking for in Kada Farida. He imported her to Kuwait to his Ajmal Arabian stud. Kada Farida is by Farid Nail Moon out of and goes back in the dam line through Alikat Bint Mefisa line. A mare with a lot of substance and charisma, a ground covering movement, a lot of self-confidence. Just a beauty and a very important mare to create this dynasty and continue the dynasty of the Nefisa line. Ajmal Tamin, the sire of this beautiful mare, is the son of Ansata Hijazi out of Tabanya, going back to the Tamriya line, which is then the Laila family. Ajmal Tamin you will probably see later in the stallion barn. He came as a youngster on lease to El Taiba stud, where he was used for 2 breeding seasons. Very successfully, he left behind his son, Eltai Karim Shah, and several fantastic daughters, of which Eltai Kenana is continuing the legacy also in the dam line. And here we have Ajmal Noura to be presented in front of us. She is by Ajmal Talal, who is the other chief sire and very important for this breeding program. He is by Ansata, by Sinan Al Rayyan. And I think he was the first foal, Ajmal Talal, the first foal of Sinan Al Rayyan, born here in Kuwait. And when he was born, we all knew that Sinan Al Rayyan can do something very special. The dam of Ajmal Noura is Nashwa Sakr, and Nashwa Sakr is by Talisman out of Shahrazad, by El Habil, also known as Shaheen, out of Ali Dara line. Beautiful mare with a chiseled head. Very nicely built in her body structure. Shows great movement. She's always happy to see so many people and loves to show off. Always snorting and blowing and greeting our guests from around the world. Mohammed Marzouk always valued the family of Ali Dara very highly. And Nashwa Sakr, truly a queen here in the stables. Have in mind to think about your special favorite. The jury will also, of course, do. They already selected the best in all the previous visited farms, and this is now, as the last destination, the last chance to find your favorite. And after this presentation, we will have them all in the arena, all these best of the top 10, according to the selection of our jury members: Sheikh Saud bin Abdulaziz Al Thani, Abdel Rauf, Abbas from Egypt, and Cornelia Tauschke from Germany. We have now Ajmal Filwa with us. She is also by Ajmal Tamin, so a half-sister to the first, Ajmal Gaza. Ajmal Filwa is out of CT Adila. This CT is a synonym of Sitchi Tyson. Count Federico Sitchi Tyson bred this mare. He unfortunately is no longer with us. He passed away some years back. The farm is unfortunately dispersed. And Mohammed Marzouk is co-owning CT Adila, I believe, together with our dear friend Gigi Grasso. Italian by birth, but living now in Cuba, Havana, enjoying his life. He also co-owned with Mohammed Ajmal Maghreb, the father of CT Adila. Ajmal Maghreb first went to Gigi Grasso's farm in Italy, produced some very nice stock in Italy, before he then went on lease to Count Federico Sitchi Tyson to Argentina. And the dam of CT Adila is CT Faalika, and she goes back to Malikat Al Gamal, which is the same dam line like the hero of the breed, Al-Adid Al Shakab. So it's Hadban and Zahi going back to Yosreya. A beautiful, very typey mare with a great conformation. Look at his wonderful head, this beautiful expression she is giving, and an amazing movement. We expect now as the next Ajmal Beysan. She is by Ajmal Talal, so a half-sister to Ajmal Noura. And Beysan is out of Rahaj al-Arab. And Rahaj is by Ansata Oseiron, who for many years was the chief sire of Al-Arabstad of Her Highness Sheikh Hassara Fahd al-Sabah. And Rahaj al-Arab is out of Bashasha. And Bashasha is by Rajdan out of tea, bred at the EAO El Zahra, the state stud of Egypt. Tea is one of the most famous mares of El Zahra stud. Sheikh Hassara was happy and blessed to be able to purchase Bashasha, and she truly did an amazing job for her Al-Arab stud. Produced Rahaj al-Arab by Oseiron, and this Rahaj al-Arab did an amazing job for Mohammed al-Marzouk. Her strain is, of course, Saglawi Jidran, Dalal, going back to Moniet el-Nefus. It's an amazing pedigree. And this mare is truly special. Beysan has the best from both sides. She truly represents the gorgeous type of Rahaj al-Arab, and also the solid confirmation of Ajmal Talal. The way how she is moving, this is typical Talal. Very nice young mare. Ajmal Beysan. Keep her in mind. Maybe some of you will choose her as the best of the top 10. We will see at the end. And the next to be presented in the arena, we can expect Ajmal Tasbi. She is by Ajmal Ashal. Ajmal Ashal is the son of Sinan al-Rayyan. Mohammed al-Marzouk was so generous to give Ajmal Ashal as a gift to Her Highness Sheikh Hassara Fahd al-Sabah, the General Director of Beit al-Arab, the state stud of Kuwait. He became very influential for her breeding program as well as for Beit al-Arab's breeding program, where we have some beautiful daughters by him. Mohammed Marzouk also had him on lease back to his place where he was born. Used him on a couple of his mares, selected mares, and got Ajmal Tasbi. She is out of Ajmal Turkiya, and Turkiya is by Ajmal Tamin. Turkiya was one of the first foals born by Ajmal Tamin here on the place after he returned back from the lease period in Germany. Truly an eye-catcher and a very valuable broodmare for Mohammed Marzouk. Turkiya is by Tamin, as I said, out of Ajmal Taraf, and Ajmal Taraf is out of Taraf al-Naif. So again, this is Saglawi Jidran Dalal going back to Moniet el-Nefus. And although horses from the Dahman Shawan strain of different families are still quite dominant in number here in the breeding program, the number of Saglawi Jidrans has increased over the past years. Mohammed was very lucky using them. And they are based on two different mares. On one hand on Taraf al-Naif, then also on Hamaza Masuda. These mares were very fertile and produced a lot of fillies. So the Saglawis increased in number and are one of the pillars of the columns of the breeding program of Mohammed Marzouk's Ajmal Arabian stud. So Tasbih is now asked to return back, but first she has to be close up with her special friends in that corner. But she knows where is the exit, leaving us. Who knows, maybe we see her back and she will be chosen by our jury as the best of the top 10. We will see. The next to be entering the arena is Ajmal Masouda. She's by Ajmal Talal out of Ajmal Munira. And Ajmal Munira is by Ansata Hijazi out of Hamaza Masouda. During one of the many visits Mohammed paid to Germany, he went to see Senator Dr. Olm's Hamaza Arabian stud. In the mid of Germany, not so far from Frankfurt at this time, was the location. He saw the horses over there, liked what he saw, but was especially impressed by Hamaza Masouda, showed his interest to buy her. Dr. Olms agreed. Probably in the meantime he regrets that he has done so, but on the other hand, he is happy that Hamaza Masouda found a new home here in this wonderful place. And it is just recently, I think 2 or 3 days back, that Dr. Olms visited Kuwait on the invitation of Beit El Arab. Sherazara expressed this invitation. He came because a mare which he bred, Latifa, would have had celebrated her 30th birthday. Unfortunately, she is no longer with us, but she created her own dynasty, and this was one of the reasons why Senator Dr. Olms came. And of course, he also paid a visit to Mohammed Marzouk's farm. He was here, and he was happy to see the produce of Hamaza Masouda. Actually, one of her daughters, Ajmal Munira, made her move from here to Qatar. She has a base in Al Wab Farm, one of the most well-known and important farms all over the world. And there she is highly treasured as one of the very important mares of the breeding program of Al Wab. And Mohammed is happy to have Ajmal Masouda as a fine representative of the Monyenefus family. She shows the refinement and elegance, but is also stamped by her father Ajmal Talal, which you easily can see, especially in the way how she is moving, is truly dancing around, always upright. An amazing power comes from behind. See this strong engine. Reaches far under the body, lifts herself up in the front, and off she goes. She also has this beautiful eye of Ajmal Talal, a great stallion, important chief sire for Ajmal Arabian stud. We are expecting now in the arena Ajmal Sadan. She is by Muhannad Alward, a beautiful bay stallion, bred and still residing, I think, in Alward Stud, very close by. Unfortunately, the founder and longtime owner of Alward Farm, Mr. Salah Al-Terkit, is no longer with us. One of his sons took over the responsibility for the farm and continues the legacy of Alward. Muhannad was here on lease, and he was used on a group of carefully selected mares, among them Ajmal Saba. She is the dam of this beautiful Sadan, and Saba is by Ansata Hijazi out of Ansata Circuit, one of the route mares of Mohammed Marzouk, daughter of Ansata Imhotep out of Ansata Selket, who, as you all know, is by Ansata Halim Shah and Ansata Samara. Then, of course, through Delilah, going back to Bint Bukra. Ansata Bint Bukra. Mohammed Marzouk chose Muhannad Alward on one hand because he was very exotic in type. He had a very fine, or still has a very fine muzzle and a good eye, a solid body, and he is bay. And Mohammed feels we all have to take care that we are not losing pigmentation in all our mainly grey horses. Not that he has a problem with this, but he doesn't want to run into the problem, and therefore every now and then he also uses stallions which can offer him strong pigmentation. His stallion, Ajmal Talal, is flea-bitten grey, so there is already also strong pigmentation. But nevertheless, we all have to keep this in mind and make sure that our horses are not getting too pinky. Sanan Tuli, a very nice, I think she's still a filly. Keep our fingers crossed that she will have a bright future and a strong influence in the breeding program of Ajmal Arabian Stud. The next will soon be with us, and this is Ajmal Manal. Ajmal Manal is from the same family as Ajmal Masuda, who you have seen before. Masuda was by Ajmal Talal and Ajmal Munira. Actually, Manal is the daughter of Ajmal Masuda, and she is by Ajmal Tamin. And Masuda, who is by Ajmal Talal and Ajmal Munira. Going back to Dr. Olms, Hamaza Masuda. Saglawi Jidran, Moniet El Nefus. Masuda, Hamaza Masuda, one of the route mares of Hamasa Arabian Stud. Look at this very chiseled head. Give it a chance to come very close to you. You see these gorgeous eyes. Amazing. When she looks at you, she looks deep into your heart. Very chiseled head, extremely refined and beautiful. And overall nicely balanced in her body structure. I guess some of you would choose her as your personal favorite. We will later on see what our jury members will decide. There is more to go. The gate is open for her to go home to her box whenever you have the chance, maybe later on or any other day when you are visiting Ajmal Arabian Stud in the future. Take the chance and see her close up in her stables. She's truly an eye catcher. The next to come is another Ajmal Tamim daughter, and it is Ajmal Turkiya. Tamim, as I said, was leased to El Taiba Stud, where he resided for 2 years. He had to be shown as a stallion registration show, where he, as well as other about 60 stallions, were evaluated by a committee, a jury committee. And they really judge a lot of elements: the forelegs, the hind legs, the head, the neck, the place where you put the saddle on, the length of the back, the croup. Believe me, a lot of details. He ended up being gold premium stallion, and he was the overall winner of this stallion presentation show and registration show. Although he was one of the youngest, he beat all the other horses. Got high marks for legs. If you would compare this to our show system, it would be, I think, an 18 or a 19 for legs. And we know from experience that he often gives his solid, clean, and very correct legs. But, of course, he gives much more. He gives the type of the Tamriya family from which he is descending. These chiseled heads, the broad foreheads with a width between the eyes, the nice, long and elegant necks with a clean throat like he has himself. He often passes this on to his offspring. He passes on good top lines and the great powerful movement. About the good legs I was already talking. Truly a very special stallion. It was a privilege to have him for 2 years at El Taiba Stud. Now he is back to the country where he was born. And not only Mohammed, other breeders here in the region have used him with great success. The dam of Turkiya is Ajmal Taraf. Very important mare for Mohammed Marzouk's breeding program. Daughter of Ajmal Talal, or of Ajmal Ibtisam. Going back to Bint Ibtisam. Saglawi Jedran Omdalal. Monyet El Nefus family. As you can see, there's quite a lot from the Monyet El Nefus here in this presentation. Last but definitely not least, we are expecting the 10th horse from Mohammed's top 10 selection. And this will be Ajmal Naila. She's by Ajmal Tamim, out of Nashwa Sakr, by Talasman and Shahrazad Sakr. So, related to Ajmal Noura, the second horse you saw in the presentation. Shahrazad Sakr by El Habil, also named Shaheen. Alidara family. Here she is. And look at her. Another true eye-catcher and fine representative of Mohammed Marzouk's breeding program. She truly reflects his goal. A very delicate, very refined mare, dry in her texture. This lovely look at me attitude. Proud about herself. She loves to show. A masterpiece of the combination of Tamria 2 on the sire side and the Adidara line on the dam side. You almost cannot do this better. Fantastic. Really enjoyable to see her. This was the last one of the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. We have to wait until the jury members took their final decision. And already, let us take the chance to thank Mohammed Al Marzouk for this wonderful